Shavkat Rakhmonov ran through Neil Magny like a freight train. It wasn't competitive. I mean, I guess you could say some of the leg entanglements were maybe a little dicey at points, but not really. He scores a second-round guillotine choke, Rakhmonov does. BC, you know what I'm about to ask you. One, what did you make of the fight overall in terms of what Shavkat Rakhmonov was able to do? And more importantly, now that he fought someone who we both respect Neil Magny. We both know where he's been. We both know what he's done. Rakhmonov made it look like light work. Given that, how far can he go?
The top of the division, Luke, and to be really fair here, Fedor, the top of the sport, Luke. Will he get there? We'll find out. But you want to talk about not seeing holes. And look, I got some flack last week, including from Shavkat's manager who told you, but we love the guy. We met him. Great guy. Have met him. The comment about him being a finisher. Well, he's finished everyone he fought. I sort of meant if he's in a fight where he's down or he's in a fight where it's boring, will he go, after it the same way? Luke, this fight was so one-sided that it was boring for a while until he finished him because he had so much control. It looked like a grown man fighting a little boy. So when he does that against lesser competition before this, you have to somewhat temper your expectations in long terms, figuring out his ceiling. But when you do it against someone so battle-tested as Magny, who was coming in on such a good streak and looked to be that perfect, okay, is this guy for real? Let's find out. And then you don't even let Magny, outside of those leg entanglements you brought up, have a second of control, offense, or hope. Luke, we are looking at a potential future pound-for-pound king, and I say that so rarely because you should say that so rarely. We are looking at the type of guy who has the demeanor, talent, and although we don't know all of his intangibles yet and won't until he meets his equal, right, or until he enters a real pit of despair in a fight. So we're not going to be able to find that out until we find that out. But from what we've seen now, he looks like he could become the best fighter in the sport. And I'm not saying he will or I think he will, Luke, but everything you saw early, this was the fight, I think, where everyone else saw that because it needed an opponent of this level with this level of durability who doesn't, even when he loses, Luke, does he get handled? Does anyone go out there and piss on Neil Magny? No. Okay? But he urinal caked him here, Luke. You know what I'm saying? Remember that?
Okay, it's a little.
No,
much.
but that's no disrespect to Neil Magny. But remember I told you about that adult men's club in the middle of the Midwest one time where they were just pouring buckets of ice in the urinal and it was great.
I've seen that before, yeah.
He just melted the ice, Luke, and damn, is he coming on? It calls out Wonder Boy afterwards in sort of a cheeky, fun way. Luke, I'll say it better like this. I don't know. I don't know when we're going to find out when he meets his equal. And I can't wait to find that out. And I think we have to put him on the level now of the love we have for Chimaev, who's a little bit flashier, has gotten finishes quicker because he goes after it a little bit more. But yes, we have two chess pieces here in the future of this welterweight division that every time I see either of them, I start to wonder how much more Kamaru Usman is going to stay in this game, Luke. And that's not that Kamaru couldn't be both or wouldn't. He's the best fighter in the sport right now in my pound-for-pound rankings. But again, just like the conversation we had about lightweight, these guys are coming on. And Luke, if I offered you four names right now, Makhachev, Gamrot, Chimaev, Sarukian.
That's four.
UBL, baby. Who at the moment is showing the highest upper bound limits?
I'm not sure you mentioned Rakhmonov there, but I would say Rakhmonov.
Who did I say when I thought I said Rakhmonov? Who did I just say?
I think you said Sarukian.
Oh, okay. Let me remove Sarukian for a second. Put Rakhmonov in there like I intended to, but I've got, I wouldn't call it CTE, Luke, because I haven't taken a lot of head damage, but have I shown those traits to you? That's for you to decide off camera. You have fears about what I'm about to say every time I open my mouth. There's something going on in here. I missed that. Put Rakhmonov in that four. Who at the moment who gives you the biggest UBL phoner at the moment? I mean, where are we at, Luke?
Here's the thing. It's like everyone loves rage monsters, right? Which is what Chimaev is. He comes out, he's screaming, he's taking down the leech right next to Dana White, and he's like, look what I'm about to. They love the fearsome wolves. I saw a movie recently. It was well made, it was well shot, but it was just torture porn, and I didn't like it that much. The Northman. And everyone was like, yo, you got to see this movie. And I saw it. It's fine. It's a beautifully well-made movie, but it's one of these guys who just attacks everyone based off of rage. And I can see why people like that. There's a sort of like attraction to battle through rage. But Shavkat Rakhmonov is so different than that. He actually just lets people do what they want and then uses it against them. Like, he has this real thing where, you know, the front kick that Neil Magny was trying, he used that to go into what he was trying to do and everything else from there. He lets people try things. He lets them press them up against the fence. He lets them do these things, and then he just takes the fight away from them thereafter. Versus he's quiet. He doesn't speak English. He's sort of seemingly demure. He's like the guy at the library who figures out in the Dewey Decimal System where the book you want on cooking is in the 90s or something. Whereas Chimaev just comes out there and just, he's like this Viking warrior that people seem to respond to. But, like, I don't know that he fights undisciplined. Now, maybe if he fights more disciplined, I'll have to change that. Again, we don't have complete information. I'm making this based on your question with incomplete information. But Rakhmonov is, of all the guys that you mentioned to me, yeah, I'll say this. I think he's the most complete of them already, and he's still in his late 20s as well. Think about that. That dude isn't even close. Well, he's close to his prime, but he's not even fully in it either. So that's why, for me, it's like everyone kind of loves the flashing lights, and they love the bright lights. And Chimaev is obviously beating Gilbert Burns. Even beating Gilbert Burns, fighting undisciplined, is extremely impressive. But there are some questions about that. Now, there's questions about Rakhmonov, too. In fact, I wonder about some of those leg entanglements. I was talking to a couple of my buddies that train. They think that, like, he was kind of playing with fire there. Was he playing with fire because he didn't know better? Was he playing with fire because he just didn't care what Neil Magny was doing? It'd be curious to see what a Gilbert Burns might do to him in those particular situations if there were leg entanglements in that way. But short of that, dude, the most complete guy by far of all of them that I have seen is Rakhmonov. He can do it in every different range. He is calm. He is patient. And that doesn't scream the alarms or sound the alarms, by the way, about like, oh my God, pay attention to this guy. But when you actually watch what he does, he is so mature, so patient, so effortless. It is hard not to think that guy's either not going to fight for a title or more likely wear one at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I sort of asked that question as a final devil's advocate about if there's a hole in him. Sometimes he feels too patient to me, although he tends to just wait for that moment, the mistake, capitalize. But at the same time, Luke, who's at this point, who's going to make him have to be impatient? I mean, eventually they will, and we'll see. But the ease at which, dude, the freaking ease. Now, to your point about you got tangled up a bit. I wonder if he's even setting traps, Luke. Who knows, right? Who knows at this point?
There's a couple times where, I mean, here's the other part about Rakhmonov's game that people are sleeping on. He's got a few really unusual pieces to it. I talked about the ground and pound at the waist where he doesn't employ formal tools of control to keep someone down. This time he twisted it a little bit. Did you notice? He went to knee on belly a lot. Now sometimes it was like half knee on belly. Sometimes it was like half knee cut that didn't finish. There's obviously some subtleties to that position, but he went to it a lot. And here's the other one too. Have you noticed how many times he stands over guys and they try to up kick him and it never lands? His ability to manage that up kick scenario, I don't know if anyone else in the game has stuff like that.
Well, I saw comparisons on Twitter to Anderson Silva's standing ground attack.
I'd have to go back and review the tape. I still think his is somewhat unique because, again, going back to the Magny fight, the knee on belly was a little bit different there. But, like, for example, everyone was like, oh, we're going to go to the third round here. Dude, he gets those late round submissions all the time. He just needs for you to adjust a little bit of whatever position you're doing. And notice he keeps weight on you, so it slows whatever movement you can go to. If it's against the fence, he knows what direction you're going to turn. And then he just waits for you to give just enough of an opening, and then he drives for it, and he gets it. And his finishing ability is absolutely dramatic in that way. Here's the thing we're talking about. We just had Saryukian versus Gamrot. Dude, here's the one I'm looking forward to. Who's better? I don't know. I can't wait to see Chimaev fight Rakhmonov. Chimaev versus Rakhmonov, to me, is like the welterweight takeover. Whatever else you thought of welterweight, you talk about the guys at the top being old. There's a lot of names at welterweight. Now, Bilal Muhammad has really pushed his way through, but there's a lot of guys at welterweight that have kind of been hanging around for a while. Dude, Chimaev and Rakhmonov are going to run through all of them if they don't retire in front of it. Those guys are the next gen for real.